Okay, we are on Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph on 17A2 if you're following in the art scroll. Okay, let's begin. The Mishnah, hold on, let me just put it on silent. Okay. The Mishnah that had already led us into this concept that when we get Malkut, so it gave us a list of things that gets a person Malkut for committing that avon. So we discussed a few different ideas. The idea of lashes to do with eating something that's not kosher. The idea of lashes when a person commits a crime that would get him ordinarily the death penalty. We discussed a lot of different interesting scenarios of lo ta'aseh, of negative commandments that result in malkut in lashes. But the connecting issue between all of them, or almost all of them, was where you might not have thought that you get lashes for this. Each one for a different reason. That was the idea. Now the Mishnah continues with more things that bring you malkut. Let's say someone eats bikurim, shelo kara alehem, that he did not recite over them. What does that mean? In the pasuk it tells us that you bring bikurim, and after you bring the first fruits to the Bet HaMikdash, what do you say? Ve'anita ve'amarta. And you answer and you say out loud, Arami oved avi. An Armenian tried to destroy my grandfather. And then we went down to Egypt. And then Hashem took us out. And then Hashem brought us to the land of Israel. And now I have all these beautiful fruits, and I'm bringing the beginning of the fruits to the Bet HaMikdash. So that statement that you're supposed to state, you're supposed to put out there in the world, that's the kiriyah, the reading or the recitation of the bikurim. So what happens if you ate the bikurim but you didn't recite? It says the Mishnah continues, that's malkut. Or kodshe kodashim chutz laklaim. Or if you eat kodesh kodashim outside of the klaim. The klaim are literally the curtains, and we use the word klaim to describe the chatzer of the Bet HaMikdash. Why are we using the terms curtains? Because in the time of the Mishkan, the way that those places were designated was through the curtains. So we stuck with that sequential dividing idea of the kilaim in order to be able to tell you. So just take a look at Rashi for 1 second. Kodshe kodashim, about halfway through the page. Rashi, kodshe kodashim chutz laklaim, o she'achal kodshe kodashim bizman mishkan chutz laklaim, or that you ate it in the time of the Mishkan outside of the klaim. So each one is referring to the time of the Mishkan, and that's why it was set by the klaim, the curtains, instead of the actual walls that you had in the Bet HaMikdash. Kodshim kalim, let's say you have kodshim kalim, which means a sacrifice which was a lower grade sacrifice. Okay, that's kodshim kalim. Sorry? Yeah, different ways to pronounce it. They call it kodshim is the either way, it doesn't. Yeah, but the point is there's certain korbanot that are just mute. Sorry, guys. So kodshim kalim is the light kodashim holy, and kodshe kodashim is a higher level of kodshim. So a chatat, as an example, is kodshe kodashim. A shlamim would be kodshim kalim. Okay, so kodshim kalim u'maaseh sheni, when you have lighter kodesh, which don't need to be eaten only in the inner courtyard, or maaser sheni chutz lachoma, or you eat them outside the city wall of Jerusalem. So light kodashim, where you're supposed to eat them? In Jerusalem. Heavy kodashim, where you're supposed to eat them? In the courtyard of the temple, or in the time of the Mishkan, inside the curtains. Okay? So if you ate those things outside of where you're supposed to eat them, or you ate a kodshim kalim outside of the walls of Yerushalayim, so in both those cases you get makot. Let's say someone who breaks a bone in the Pesach Tahor. What does that mean? The pasuk says that when you're eating the Pesach, ve'etzem al tishbiru bo, and a bone you should not break in them. One of the ideas is that we didn't want that the eating of the Korban Pesach should be like the eating of a poor, which is ravenous, or you're breaking the bones and sucking out the marrow, and it was more like it was meant to be eaten like a king. So therefore, we didn't want you breaking the bones in order to be able to eat the meat. So what happens if someone did break the bone? They're transgressing the commandment of etzem lo tishbiru bo. But that's only if it's tahor. If it's not tahor, obviously it doesn't count as a korban, and then it's not an issue. Hareze loke arbaim. That is a 40 lashes isur. Aval hamutir b'tahor. But if someone leaves over when it's tahor, or if you break the bone when it's tameh, en loke arbaim, does not get 40 lashes. Now we'll understand. We have to understand why. How come normally it just says you get lashes, you don't get lashes? It doesn't say you get 40, you don't get 40. It says you get lashes. What is the discrepancy over here in the description of the lashes? We're going to see later on why it says it in such a way. So let's just review. So if you break a bone when it's tahor, malkut. If you leave over till the morning, so there's a mitzvah that says that when you bring the Korban Pesach, you have to eat the Korban Pesach, and you're not allowed to eat it. You're supposed to eat it the whole night until the morning. But once already it's past that point, you can't do it. That's called you left it over. So you're not allowed to leave it over. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to burn it. So whether it's mutir, you left it over to the morning if it's tahor, or what happens if the Korban Pesach is tameh? Okay, so it's not really going to be used as a Korban Pesach. So there, the idea of breaking the bone is not relevant, because it's only when you're eating the Korban Pesach, b'tahara, in holiness, okay, in purity. So in those two cases, ena loke arbaim, you do not get 40 lashes. Says the Mishnah, hanotel malabanim. Let's say you come across a nest and you have the mother sitting on the eggs, and you take the mother on top of the eggs. Rabbi Yehuda says, Loke ve'eno mishaleach. You get malkut, and now that I took the bird, I already took it. So I'm going to get lashes. So eno mishaleach. So you don't have to send the bird away. Okay? V'chachamim omrim, mishaleach ve'eno loke. Chachamim say, no. You send the bird, and then you don't get lashes. Okay? Why? We already learned this before. The pasuk says, Ki kare katzipor lefanecha. You're walking on the road. You see a nest on the floor with eggs or chicks, and on top of it is a mother. Lo tikach ha'em alabanim. Don't take the mother off of the eggs. What does it say? Shaleach tishalach et ha'em ve'et habanim tikach lach. Send away the mother, and then you can take the eggs. So it tells you don't take the mother. But then what does it tell you right after it says don't take the mother? It says send her away. So you see that the Torah already told you that if you took the mother, you could send her away, and that's how you could fix the fact that you took her. Okay? So therefore, since it's a mitzvah, it's an averah, which is remedied, it's fixed by the positive commandment of sending it away, says the Chachamim, there's no place for lashes because the Torah already told you how to fix the averah of taking the mother. Okay? So therefore you send the bird away and you don't get malkut. And we'll see as well what happens if you decide, you know what, that is the way the Torah says it, but I'm not going to send it away. Would the Chachamim hold that you get lashes then? In other words, is a mitzvah, is an averah that's remedied by a positive commandment, is that not part of the lashes conversation? Or is it that if you were to send it away, you saved yourself from getting lashes? That was what the machloket that we just had in the Gemara prior to the Mishnah. Okay, let's continue. Ze'akalal, says the Mishnah. This is the general rule. Kol mitzvat lo ta'aseh, any mitzvah which is a negative commandment, sheyesh bakum aseh, where the Torah then tells you this is what you should get up and do to solve the negative thing that you did. Okay, and chayavin alea, you do not get malkut for that thing. Rather, what do? You just fulfill the positive commandment. Okay, so we've had a few examples of this. What were our examples? We had an example of when you steal something. Now to steal something, but then the pasuk says if you stole something, right? Return the stolen object that you stole. We had an example. Don't spread rumors about a woman that she was unfaithful. You found her to not be, virgin. Don't spread such rumors about this woman. But if you did and you embarrassed her, and she would like, so the halacha is you have to marry her and you can never send her away. Lo tuchal lishalcha kol yamav. Says the Gemara, what happens if he gave her a get? So he sent her away. What's the halacha? You have to remarry her. So the Gemara was asking over there, if you remember, what happens if he sent her away and then someone else marries her? So he's not allowed to remarry her after, right? If someone gets divorced.
Virgin,
Sorry?
if she stays virgin and she married the first one, she get divorced, marry the second one, and he dies. And the first guy maybe rapes her. After that, he can marry her now.
I didn't follow all the saucy details there.
If she get divorced from the first guy, and she get married to another second guy, and then and get divorced or whatever, he cannot.
He's saying, one second. He's saying he had relations with her. He married her thinking that she'd never been with anybody. He had relations with her, but then he found that she wasn't virgin. So of course, by the time that happens, she's definitely not, because she was with him. He's just saying that he did not find her to be someone that had never been with anybody.
No, but I'm saying if one that rapes a woman has to marry her.
Rape is another story. I mean, we're not going to get to rape. This is just a regular case of Motzi Shemra. Guy has a regular wedding. But then he says, the morning after, he goes to the father and he says out loud to the Beit Din, he's like, what kind of thing is this? I married this woman and she's not legit. She claimed that she was a betula and she wasn't. Right? That's that case. The halakha is lo yichal shachar koyama.
But he only says it to the Beit Din, or he announces it publicly?
I mean, I don't know if he takes out an op-ed, in the New York Times, but it's a public thing. It's done in Beit Din. It's a public thing. He's suggesting. You have to realize also, in our society, so prior to the wedding, she's nothing to him.
Right.
She's a fiance, but there's no halachic element to fiance. In the time of the Torah, you were already married you were already partially married when you were engaged. So the erusin was like a partial wedding. So if someone was to not be faithful during that period of time, it's like a death penalty. She's a nara hameorasa. It's like a partial marriage. Okay?
That's before the harayat.
So in what we do today, in the chuppah and kiddushin, we put both of them together. So you have the first part, which is the kiddushin, and you have the second part, which is the erusin, the marriage. Okay. Back then they had one, and then the other was later. Okay. So when he's saying that he didn't find it to be a virgin, he's suggesting that she had an adulterous affair. Okay. So in that case, what does he do if he did send her away, which he wasn't allowed to do? He remarries her. So says the Mishnah. What are the Chachamim telling us? Anytime the Torah says that there's a solution, Malkut is not on the table. We just tell you to do the positive solution, and we'll have to ask again: what will the Chachamim hold if you do not do the positive solution? So the answer always is, well, do it.
Right.
So one opinion said no. If Beit Din takes you in and says you didn't do it, so you had up until the time that you were called into court. Now you're called into court, you didn't do it. Now the punishment is lashes. That's one opinion. The other opinion is no. Once the Torah gave you a get out of jail free card called kum aseh, here's the positive commandment to rectify it, then there's never malkut, whether or not you do it. Okay? All right. Let's continue. So we'll come back to analysis.
The malkut is going to force it in a way.
Yes, but not in every case in the Torah is in malkut. Some cases, we leave it to God to punish you.
If he doesn't do it, there's no malkut.
Every mitzvah aseh, no malkut. How do we force it? Hashem forces it. Hey, God will take care of it. All right. Says the Gemara. Gemara says, okay, let's try and understand, first of all, the beginning, the opening line that we started with. Okay, Bikurim before the Kiriyah. Amar Rabba Bar Bachana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabba Bar Bachana said the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Zu divrei Rabbi Akiva stimta. This is the words of Rabbi Akiva where he's without a name. Okay, where it's stam, where it's given to us only as Rabbi Akiva without any name. Okay. Says the Gemara. Aval Chachamim Omrim. That's how Rabbi Akiva holds that there's no malkut. That there's malkut for eating before kiriyah, bikurim before kiriyah. Hava chachamim say bikurim hanacha me'akevet bahem. Bikurim, when a person places the bikurim in front of the aron, in front of the mizbeach, that's me'akev. That is something that if you don't have it, there's no bikurim. But kiriyah and ma'akevet bahem. Whether or not you read the portion that it says in the Torah out loud, and ma'akevet, like it's still bikurim even if you don't say it. What comes out from the Chachamim, if it's if your person is not obligated, okay? If the scenario would be where the guy comes, he puts the bikurim down, he doesn't say anything, the halacha would be, since it's not me'akev, I'm allowed to eat it now. So if I'm allowed to eat it now, I'm obviously not getting malkut for it now. Rabbi Akiva holds that the reading is what makes it bikurim. You need the reading for it to be bikurim. So therefore, if I ate from it before the reading, I did it wrong, I did something wrong, I get lashes. But the Chachamim do not hold that way, and therefore, if he eats from the bikurim, the Kohen eats from the bikurim before the kiriyah, there's no malkut. But since the Chachamim hold, he needs to put it down by the mizbeach, because it says in the pasuk, "V'hinicho lefnei ha-mizbeach," and he puts it down in front of the mizbeach. If let's say the guy comes and brings the bikurim, the Kohen is like, oh my gosh, I'm mad hungry, and he just grabs the bikurim and starts eating, right? Even though he holds that you don't need kiriyah, everyone agrees that you need hanacha. Okay, so therefore, the Chachamim hold that you need hanacha, and therefore that would be where you get the malkut. Okay, the Gemara says, why is it the Rabbi Yochanan? Why does the Rabbi Yochanan? Why did he assume that this opinion is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva? Since it doesn't say who it is, right? That's why it's called stimta'a. Maybe it's Rabbi Shimon. Okay. The Gemara answers. We'll see in a minute why that's why the Gemara wanted that to be. The Gemara answers. Hakamash Malan. Rabbi Yochanan is trying to tell you to Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shimon, that Rabbi Akiva also agrees with Rabbi Shimon. The Gemara says, "My Rabbi Shimon. Why would you think that it should be Rabbi Shimon instead of Rabbi Akiva?" The Gemara answers. The time we learned in the Braita says, "Utrumat yadecha." Elu bikurim. When the pasuk says the teruma yadecha, that refers to bikurim. Amar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon learned ma ba'azeh lelamdenu. What, when you're telling me in the bikurim that this is bikurim in the pasuk of terumat yadecha, what does it come and tell me? Now, just like we always do, just take a look at the pasuk. Where is it? Let's see if I can find you the whole pasuk. Okay. V'lakacha kohen atenem yadecha. You see it at the bottom? And the kohen will take the basket from your hand. Where's the full pasuk? Why can't I find it? Oh, here, sorry. Mechila. It's at the side. Lo tuchal le'echol b'sharecha ma'asar deganecha. You can't eat in your gates the ma'asar of your wheat, v'tiroshecha, v'yitzarecha, u'bechorot bekarecha. You can't eat the ma'asar of all of your produce and your animals and your sheep, and your dedications, utrumat yedecha, and the teruma of your hand. So the Gemara over here is saying, right, that Rabbi Shimon says utrumat yadecha, where it's telling you that you can't eat it in your gates. Rather, you have to go to Jerusalem. So, what does utrumat yadecha mean? It refers to bikurim. Amar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says, "Ma bazel lamdenu." What is that coming to tell you? Im lo chalan chutz lachoma. If it's coming to tell you that if you eat bikurim chutz lachoma, outside of the walls of Yerushalayim, that is asur, you don't need to tell me that. Why? Kal v'choim maaser akal. I know that already from maaser. Maaser is much less chamur than bikurim. It's much less holy than bikurim. It's much more lenient. So therefore, if I know that ma'aser, because it says it in the pasuk, right? Lo tuchala achol b'sharecha ma'asar deganecha. If you could only eat ma'aser in the city, not in Yerushalayim, not outside, so then for sure you could only eat bikurim in the city, not outside. So ma ma'aser akal ochlan chutz lachoma, and if ma'aser, which is easy, ochlan chutz lachoma, you eat it outside of the wall, right? And somebody who eats them, still you get malkut. Bikurim lo kol sheken. Bikurim, you want to tell me that you needed to give me a chidush that if you eat it outside the walls of Jerusalem that you get lashes? Of course you do. It's more strict than the laws of Maaser, and Maaser gets lashes. Ha lo ba'akatuv le'ochel mibikurim ad shelo kara. What is it coming to tell you over here? Utrumat yadecha, the terumah of your hand. It's coming to include another scenario of lashes when it comes to bikurim. And what is that? When you ate from the bikurim before you read it. Before you read the Arami Oved Avi from the Pasuk. So therefore, Shuhul okay that you get Malkut. So Rabbi Shimon in the Braita says explicitly that if you ate the Bikurim before you read the correct portion, the correct passage, the halacha would be that you get lashes. So once we have an established opinion of Rabbi Shimon, the Gemara was asking, why would you not assume that this was Rabbi Shimon? Why are you assuming that it's Rabbi Akiva? The Gemara answers, it could be Rabbi Shimon. The only reason why Rabbi Yochanan said that it was Rabbi Akiva was to tell you that Rabbi Akiva also holds like Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Akiva agree that bikurim that you ate from before you read the passage, you get malkut. Okay, now the Gemara now continues. V'nidvotecha zu todzu tudav v'shlamim. So remember in the pasuk it says also not just the words utromat yadecha, it also says unidvotecha and your donations. Okay, so what is that coming to include? Zu tudav v'shlamim. That's referring to a korban todah. When does a person bring a korban todah? When they escape the same things that we do for Birkat HaGomel. Okay, so you used to bring a korban todah for those things, a korban of thanks. Ushilamim and a shilamim. What's a shilamim? A shilamim is a type of korban that everybody gets a piece from. So some korbanot, nobody gets a piece from. Which korban? Olah. Olah, you take the whole korban, it's burned in the mizbeach, the whole korban goes to Hashem. Okay? Chatat, who eats from the korban chatat? Only the kohen. Shilamim is a korban that I eat as Yisrael, the kohen eats as a kohen, and the mizbeach gets a piece. Because there's parts of the korban that you burn. That's why it's called shilamim, because everyone's at peace, because everyone got some. Okay? So, todah and shilamim, both of those korbanot, the pasuk also includes it in that same pasuk that you have to eat it in Jerusalem. Amar Rabbi Shimon said, Ma bazel lamdenu. What is this coming to teach me? Same question. If it's coming to tell you that you can't eat it outside Jerusalem. And that's why the pasuk brought it in, Kal v'chomer maaser. Let's bring it out and learn that from a Kal v'chomer. Maaser, which is much less holy than Todah and Shilamim. You're only allowed to eat in Jerusalem, and if you eat it outside, you get lashes. How much more so Todah and Shilamim would be the case? So you don't need to include Todah and Shilamim, because I could have learned it out in a Kal v'chomer. Ha lo ba'akatuv. So therefore, what did the pasuk bring it for? Lo ba'akatuv. We included Todah and Shilamim. El le'ochel beTodah u'Shilamim lifnei zrika. If you ate from the korban, Todah and Shilamim, before they did the zrika. Now remember, there's certain avodas, 4 separate avodas in the bringing of a korban. Shechita is not one of them. Shechita can be done by Yisrael. When it comes to any other korban, there are 4 parts of the korban, actions, that need to be done only by a kohen, without which the korban is not a kosher korban. What is it? Kabbalah. So after the shechita, there's Kabbalah, they receive the blood of the animal. Then you have holacha, okay, the bringing of the blood from where they do the shechita on the korban inside to the Beit HaMikdash. Then you have zirika, you have the throwing of the blood, right, on the mizbeach. So zirika is the third of the 4 melachot. So therefore, since the zirika has not yet been done, the korban is not yet finished. So if I decided, you know what, I'm taking my piece of meat from the shilamim or from the todah, and I'm going to go make myself a July 4th barbecue, right? The halacha would be, shul okay, you get malkut, because the pasuk says unidvotecha, which comes to tell you todah and shilamim. Okay? Let's continue. The Braita continues, okay? Ubechorot, right? Remember that sentence? You cannot eat in your gates maaser deganecha v'tiroshecha v'yitzarecha ubechorot bekarecha, and the firstborn of your cattle. What does ubechorot mean? Ubechorot zeh abechor. That refers to the firstborn. Amar Rabbi Shimon, ma bazel lamdenu. What is that coming to tell you? Right? If it's coming to tell you can't eat outside of the wall, kal v'chol maaser. I would have been able to learn that just from executing a kal v'chomer from maaser. If maaser, which is less holy than a bechor, is only edible in Yerushalayim, and if you eat it outside the walls, you get malkut. How much more so Would that be the case? What with a bechor? Says the Gemara, im lifnei zrika. And if the reason why you were telling me bechor is to tell me the same thing that we just learned about todah and shilamim, that if you eat from it before you affect the zrika, then you get lashes. If that's what it's coming to tell you, I don't need that. Why? Kal vachomer mitodah v'shilamim, because the pasuk already mentioned todah and shilamim. Todah and shilamim is less holy than bechor. And if todah and shilamim, if you eat from it before zrika, you get lashes, how much more so bechor, which is more strict than todah and shilamim? So it has to be another chidush. The Gemara answers, no, that's coming to tell you that if you eat, when a person eats from the bechor, even after the zrika, yeah? So after the zirika, if somebody ate from the bechor that was not supposed to eat, but isn't that when you're supposed to eat from it, after the zirika? The answer is yes, if you're a kohen. So if someone ate from it after zirika who was not a kohen, that they would get malkut. Sorry? Good?
Yeah.
Okay. The Braita continues. So what's this Braita doing? Rabbi Shimon is literally ripping apart every word in the pasuk, looking to see what the chidush is in each part of the pasuk. The Gemara continues. It says, "Ubechorot, the bechorot, bekarecha v'tzonecha, your cattle and your sheep." Now, why does it say bechorot, bekarecha v'tzonecha? It could have just said bechorot, your bechor, your firstborn. I would have known any kind of animal that falls under the category of bechor. The Gemara says cattle and sheep. What is that coming to tell you? It's coming to tell you zu chatat ve'asham. It's coming to tell you that you cannot eat a chatat, a korban chatat, and an asham, and a guilt offering. Okay? Amar Rabbi Shimon said, Ma bazel lamdenu. What is this coming to teach us? In lo ochlan chutz lechomav, it's coming to tell me that you can't eat outside of the walls of Jerusalem. We know that from a kal vachomer from Maaser. If Maaser, you're not allowed to eat outside the walls, and if you eat it, you get malkut. How much more so chatat and asham, which is heavy, holy korbanot. Almost the highest level of kodesh kodashim. So what kal vachomer Maaser? We're learning from Maaser. Im lifnei zrika, if it's coming to tell me that you ate from it before the zrika, that you get lashes, we learn that from kal vachomer mi todah v'shilamim. Im la'achaz zrika, if it's coming to tell you that it's if you ate from it after the zrika and you were not a kohen, after the zrika, kal vachomer b'chor. We already learned that from bechor, and bechor is less holy than chatat and asham. Ha lo ba'katuv le'ochel michatat ve'asham afilu achar zrika chutz lakelaim. That's coming to teach you that you ate, that it's asur, even for a kohen, as we said earlier, to eat after the zirika from a chatat and asham outside the kilaim. Remember, up until now, what was maaser talking about? You have to eat maaser in Jerusalem. Now we're saying kodesh kodashim. Where do you have to eat it? It's not enough to eat it in Jerusalem. Where do you have to eat it? Inside the walls of the temple, okay? Or in the time of the Mishkan, inside the curtains surrounding the Chatzer around the Mishkan. So the Gemara says, what is the chidush of Chatat Asham? It's coming to tell you that if a Kohen eats after the Zirika, so he waits the right amount of time till all the Avodah is done. Now he wants to eat the Chatat Asham, but he wants to eat it at home. He doesn't eat it in the courtyard of the temple. Also, he would get Malkut for that. Shuloke. Now the Braita finishes off. There's only one more part in the Braita, in the pasuk, that's not been explained. The last part of the Braita is nidarecha zu ola. Nidarecha, you see, it says your oaths. When you make an oath that you're going to bring a korban, that refers to ola. Ola is the korban that is burnt in its entirety on the mizbeach. It's the highest form of korban. Amar Rabbi Shimon, what is that coming to teach us? This is like Chad Gadya. Im le'echol le'ochal chutz chamav, it's coming to tell you to eat outside the wall. We already learned that from Kal V'chomer Maaser. If it's coming to learn the Zerika, that you're not allowed to eat from it before Zerika, before they threw the blood on the Mizbeach, Kal V'chomer Todah V'Shalamim. We could have learned that from Todah V'Shalamim, which is less strict than Ola. If it's coming to tell me, Im la'achar Zerika, it's coming to tell you after Zerika, Kal V'chomer B'chor, for a non-Kohen. We learned that from B'chor. Im chutz hakelayim, it's telling you like that you can't eat after the zirika for a kohen, but outside of the correct space, i.e., the inside courtyard of the temple. Im chutz hakelayim, kal v'chomer chatat ve'asham. We learned that from chatat ve'asham. Halo ba'akatuv. The pasuk is not coming to teach me. Ela leochel min ha'olah, לאחר זריקה, אפילו בפנים. It's talking about when you're eating from the olah, after the zerika, in the right place, even for a kohen. Because as I mentioned before, the olah has no part that gets eaten by a human. So therefore, the person would get malkut in that case. Says the Gemara, Rava says, Diliada imeh kerebi Shimon teled. If a person is giving birth to a child, okay, Diliada imeh kerebi Shimon teled. If someone is giving birth to a child, they should say, Hashem, please give me a child like Rabbi Shimon. Because of the genius of the way he just explained that pasuk, word by word by word, with chidush after chidush after chidush. V'i lo, and if not, lo telit. I don't want to give birth. If I'm going to have a child, I want it to be like Rabbi Shimon. And I say this, the genius of Rabbi Shimon, even though I have a question on the way Rabbi Shimon taught, still what Rabbi Shimon said was absolutely genius. Now, we don't have time because we're going to do Mincha right now, but we're going to continue Be'ezrat Hashem here, 17b1, and we're going to explain the questions that Rava has on the chidushim of Rabbi Shimon from the pasuk. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen.